damn it.
Why? This is the third day in a row.
5, 4, 3,
I'm keeping
2,
it.
1.
I'm keeping it. It's staying that way.
All right, Alice, I'm putting it on my Instagram right now.
What are you putting on your Instagram?
My frequency analysis. Does Instagram only lets me do these like scenes now? Like I can't do normal posts anymore.
I'm sure there's a way to do it.
God.
I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Just be the old thing, Instagram, for Christ's sake. New post. It says new post, right?
What are you playing? Are you playing our live stream out loud?
No, I am not, Alice.
What are you doing?
I am running.
Nobody wants to see the old man trying to post on Instagram and not knowing what he's doing.
All right, there you go.
All right.
So let me just tell you something, Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness gracious. A story came out today, breaking news.
Mm-hmm.
Who was it?
I don't know. A fake number.
Breaking news today was that Heritage Organization FOIA'd an internal memo. First of all, they FOIA'd it from the Department of Homeland Security, asking for all the internal memos regarding those Border Patrol agents who were strapping somebody last year, according to Joe Biden. Anyway, they got their paws on and then gave it to Fox News, an internal memo to Mayorkas from the public affairs person at the Department of Homeland Security, saying that absolutely nobody was strapped or struck whatsoever. They talked to the photog, and it never happened. But it didn't matter, because even though he said that, even though he saw that and knew that it to be true, like we all knew it to be true.
Of course.
He still went out and was happy to just lie to people. And we remember, of course, what that sounded like last year. I've got it here somewhere. Here we go.
Just to go back, please, to the images of these mounted Border Patrol officers. You said on Saturday, or rather on the 20th, to ensure control of the horse, long reins are used. The person who took these photos of the Border Patrol agents says, I've never seen them whip anyone.
So now, this was Ducey mentioning the photog as well. So Mayorkas already had gotten a memo saying that the photog had been contacted and there was no whipping.
Of course.
Now Ducey's saying the same thing, and Mayorkas is pretending here that that it's all news to him. Because, of course, Biden is trying to score political points, and all of these people are whores. Biden is trying to score political points and went out there, and I'll play it in a second.
So why is the president out there today talking about people being strapped?
So let me correct the statements in your question, if I may.
The thing is that he sounds like a nervous liar, too. And he is.
Yeah, because he's literally lying. Because he already knows that nobody hit anybody with anything. But this administration is run by Ron Klain's Twitter account.
Well, this is outlaws. And so now he knows that he is in the process of railroading innocent good men.
Yeah.
For no reason other than the guy at the top is a cynical POS.
It was on Friday. No, if I may. It was on Friday when I was, actually it was on Monday, I believe, when I was in Del Rio on the ground. And I made the statements without having seen the images. I saw the images on the flight back, and I made the statement that I did with respect to what those images suggested. The horses have long reins, and the image in the photograph that we all saw that horrified the nation raised serious questions about about what occurred. And as I stated quite clearly, it conjured up images of what has occurred in the past. Let me finish. There's also a question of how one uses the horse and how one interacts with individuals with the horse. And so I'm going to let the investigation run its course. I'm not going to interfere with that investigation. The facts will be determined.
There's also a question of how one uses the horse. Well, I think one uses the horse by putting little stirrups on it and putting a little bit in its mouth and climbing up on it and riding it around. That's the question of how one uses the horse. This guy.
The investigators, and then the results.
Your buddy Bill Melugin got his paws on these documents. They're there to see. He always knew. Everybody knew what was obvious, but they went through this sham thing anyway.
Driven by the facts that are
And
determined.
just to follow up, please, before the facts are in, is it helpful to your investigation for the President of the United States to use inflammatory language like people being strapped?
Let me just be very clear and repeat what I've said. I am not concerned with respect to the integrity of the investigation. We know how to conduct an investigation with integrity. I served as 12 years as a federal prosecutor. There were a great deal of comments in many of the cases that I handled in the public sphere, and I know how to maintain the integrity of an investigation, and this investigation will have integrity.
What does it tell you that this guy was a federal prosecutor for 12 years?
Yeah, that prosecutors suck. And
Yeah. Yeah. And so here's the question Biden
and
got.
lie
with Biden
and go after people.
Biden and his complicit media prostitutes.
Mr. President, you said on the campaign trail that you were going to restore the moral standing of the U.S., that you were going to immediately end Trump's assault on the dignity of immigrant communities.
If she does say so herself. His assault on the immigrant communities.
Given what we saw at the border this week, have you failed in that promise? And this is happening under your watch. Do you take responsibility for the chaos that's unfolding?
Of course I take responsibility. I'm president, but it was horrible what to see, as you saw. To see people treated like they did, horses barely running them over, people being strapped, it's outrageous. I promise you those people will pay. They will be, there's an investigation underway now, and there will be consequences.
Consequences for what, though, Mr. President?
It's an embarrassment, but it's beyond an embarrassment. It's dangerous. It's wrong. It sends the wrong message around the world. It sends the wrong message at home. It's simply not who we are.
This POS needs to be impeached. Immediately. Republicans win the House and Senate. They need to impeach him immediately. You can start here if you want to, or you can start with the school student loan stuff if you want to.
Or the CDC eviction moratorium
Mayorkas
garbage.
Should be hauled in front of Congress, should be browbeat, and should be forced to leave office as well.
Absolutely. This kind
These
of
people
lying...
are thrown away. These are people in law enforcement protecting the border. They have thrown away their lives for political gain only. They could give a damn. These are human beings that we're talking about who did a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the same stuff. Like, they've wildly politicized the Justice Department, wildly politicized the FBI. This stuff with, like, going after people who do stuff at pregnancy centers. Like, you know, if you're removed from the premises, you're removed from the premises. But if no charges are pressed at the time, and then 2 years later, the feds come in with some special charge that only applies to abortion places, you know, that's the type of thing that's really dangerous. And you look at places like Massachusetts, where you have Maura Healey and Liz Warren talking about going after crisis pregnancy centers that don't do abortion, that tell people about other choices and like raise donations for women in tough situations. They want to go after those places and not allow those to exist using the full force of the law. And in the meantime, you can't even stand and like sing or pray outside an abortion place because that's illegal. It's really incredible. And the way that the federal government is treating this stuff is so dangerous and escalatory. Biden talked about how divided we were and how he was going to be the uniter in chief or whatever, but this is like the most divisive administration I've ever seen in my life. It is incredible. People gave George W. Bush a lot of pushback for saying, like, if you're not with us, you're against us in the global war on terror, right? But, like, this is the most divisive thing I've ever seen, the way the Biden administration is using the executive branch to go after Americans, many of whom are just doing their jobs, like these Border Patrol agents, and just the brazen lying, like lie. Remember they used to have a lie counter for Trump?
Oh, of course.
But now, listen to this. Did you see this piece from the New York Times yesterday?
I don't know.
So, this is the Times on Biden. Biden, storyteller-in-chief, spins yarns that often unravel.
Oh, that's great.
President Biden has been unable to break himself of the habit of embellishing narratives to weave a political identity. And it goes on how he lies all the time, and this has like been a thing he's done his entire career, which obviously we all knew before he was elected. Everybody knew about this
since before his career.
Biden's folksiness can veer into folklore, with dates that don't quite add up and details that are exaggerated or wrong. The factual edges shaved off to make them more powerful for audiences. Well, that's good. Were the factual edges shaved off of the Border Patrol story a little bit, do we think?
Here's some Biden lies.
When I marched in the civil rights movement, I did not march with a 12-point program. I marched with tens of thousands of others to change attitudes.
Biden never marched in the civil rights movement.
Of course.
He was never part of anything. He lied in his college exams. He lied in law school. He lied. He had to drop out of the race in '88 because he lied. He stole somebody's biography.
Right.
Another man's biography. I mean, this guy has always been a dishonest actor. He has always been.
So, I mean, the left is just discovering that in the New York Times just learned that on October 10th, 2022, apparently. That's when they discovered that Biden's stories don't add up. But, I mean, between that and, like, you hear those old clips of him like that, and he sounds so much more on his A game. He does not sound good lately. What were we watching him the other day where we were seeing him in something and you looked at me and you're like, whoa, he is not all right. He's not sounding good. And the fact that we're like playing pretend here now, but this is like the John Fetterman stuff too. Like we played this stuff for you yesterday where they were saying the MSNBC reporter who's had the first interview with him since his stroke is saying that he can't understand things people say to him and needs to have like the questions written out for him and he can't understand a conversation.
Oh, people are attacking the reporter. She said they had small talk and he wasn't making any sense during that before the cameras rolled.
Yeah, that's a problem if you want to be in the Senate. But now the left has decided that this is like an attack on disabled people.
Yes.
So this is Drew Savicki, I guess his name is on Twitter. The continued political weaponization of Fetterman's hearing problem is despicable. Is it a hearing problem? Is it a hearing problem? Do strokes damage your hearing or do strokes damage your brain? Because I thought it was the latter. The idea that a hearing problem disqualifies one from public service is grotesque. Hate those hearing problems that go like that. So, you know, they're going for now he has a disability. So they're saying like, oh, did you say that about Greg Abbott and Madison Cawthorn's wheelchairs? Should they not serve because they're in a wheelchair? Well, a wheelchair doesn't stop you from being able to do the work that the Senate requires. Having brain damage where you can't understand what people are saying is a detriment to doing certain jobs, among them being a U.S. senator. And you know that the left would absolutely be aware of that. You know, if it were a Republican who had the, quote, hearing problem, they would understand why it's a problem. This is Eric Michael Garcia, who is a senior DC scribe at Independent at MSNBC columnist.
Is he a senior
author.
DC scribe or a senior DC scribe?
It says senior. It says S-E-N with a little thing on it. O-R DC scribe. He writes, how is this any different from Tammy Duckworth or Madison Cawthorn needing a wheelchair? How is it different from many elderly senators who need hearing aids? Yeah, he just needs a hearing aid. It's just a hearing problem. Why are you so anti-disabled against people who can't hear? Is it the position of NBC News that a senator with glasses, writes Ian Millhiser, is it a position of NBC News that a senator with glasses cannot be trusted in office because they use assistive technology to accommodate their disability? Yeah, it's just like glasses. It's just like using glasses. If you can't understand human speech anymore, that's just like having glasses. I mean, the dishonesty of this whole thing. And then he himself tweeted today, too. Did you see this?
Fetterman?
Yeah.
No.
He tweeted, Dr. Oz is both perfectly healthy and extremely wealthy. Must be nice. Most Pennsylvanians aren't. Who do you think is going to fight for them?
Of course, this guy is a guy of privilege. He's got a wealthy family.
Of course.
Fetterman.
His parents were giving him like $50K a year just to live up until the time he was like 50.
Yeah.
It's really pretty incredible. But that's, you know, that's what we're doing now is we're pretending that he just has a hearing problem. Because the left somehow can't get out of their own way and put up a nominee
now they're all
who's like mentally capable.
Yes, they're all MDs now. It's called auditory processing. Okay, he just needs the screen for help. Okay, fine.
I mean, it says nothing about your worth as a human being, whether or not you can serve in the U.S. Senate. But we only need 50 senators. We don't have to take people who are brain damaged by a stroke. That's okay. You're still a worthwhile human being with a place in the world, and there are absolutely jobs that you can do after being brain damaged by a stroke. But, being a U.S. senator is really not one of them, and that's all right. We don't need everybody in the U.S. to be a U.S. senator. The idea of it is that you represent other people who don't have the time or the capabilities to serve in the U.S. Senate. That's the idea of what we're doing here, is that, not everybody's qualified to be a senator. And people who can't speak or understand conversations, probably, I would say that's pretty critical to the job, right? Isn't it a deliberative body?
Yes, it is. It's a deliberative body. Auditory processing is necessary in the Senate.
I would say that
it doesn't really. I mean, if he wins, he wins. I don't think he should be disqualified. I mean, if he wins, he wins, and then we have a guy whose auditory processing doesn't work. As long as nobody talks directly to him and he can bring his monitor around, I guess he'll be okay. But I mean, let's think we've had Joe Biden was in the Senate, and he was full of it too. These people are not.
I mean, he was full of it, but he understood conversations.
Yeah, he could speak and he could process.
It's not a great look. And I think they know they're in really big trouble in that race. I can't imagine people are going to elect somebody who can't talk.
Breaking news, Allison.
Okay, breaking news. I'm ready.
Scandalized Los Angeles leader resigns city council seat. Former LA City Council President Nuri Martinez has announced she is resigning her council seat amid a scandal over racist remarks that came to light in a leaked recording.
Mm-hmm.
Martinez announced her decision in a press release Wednesday following a groundswell of outrage and calls for the resignations of her and 2 other council members involved in the conversation recorded last year. In the conversation, she made racial remarks about the black son of a white councilman and other crude comments.
Yeah. Everything on the left is projection. Everything they like to say that the right is, they are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got to talk.
Hang on. Okay.
First of all,
what?
First of all, did you see this list that I'm on for Minahan co-hosts?
No. What list?
It's outrageous.
What's the list?
Outrageous. I'm on a list.
Okay.
I am on a list.
You're on a list?
That I'm like number 8 out of 10 of best second chairs. It's outrageous. Okay, so it goes Blind Mike. I admitted I love him. I think he's perfect. Return of RB. That's
Rico.
Oh, Rico Bosco?
Yeah.
He is pretty good. Ryan Whitney is very good. Carrabba sucks. KMS Reloaded, I got to put me up against him. That's Snell.
Okay.
Greg Poehler I think he's the best. And then comes Shattuck.
Okay, so everybody except, Snell and Carrabas you agree with is above you.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not that outrageous.
It's outrageous.
You just disagree with 2.
Well, but I don't think Carrabba should be there. All right, so now I have lost 30 and 3 pounds, Ellis.
Good for you.
Which puts me at 313, right? Which has me down. As I'm almost at 312. That means that we're staring at that 300 mark.
We're getting there. You're close.
At that 300 mark, Alice.
I think you can do it.
I think I can do it too because I'm not doing anything. It takes there's no effort being made by Tom Shattuck here. I'm going to have to eat again in like an hour, and that is the effort. I'm going to have to start. I'm going to have to force feed myself cucumbers. That's all it is. The effort.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we already had one good meal today. Although I'm done with mushrooms. It's funny because we've been eating all these vegetables, and after a while, they've reverted back into my mind to what they really are, like the zucchini pasta.
You're done with it now?
I'm done with it. I can't.
We have a bunch more zucchinis in the fridge.
No.
I just saw them. Why'd you buy them?
I need like a year off or something. And now,
so you're done with cauliflower, zucchini, and mushrooms
yes.
now.
I can't imagine ever wanting them again. But
I'm gonna have to branch out in our veggies here.
I know. I do have.
I told you to get some red and green peppers. Those are allowed. You didn't get
those.
those.
Suck.
You can dip them in dip.
But a raw red and green pepper is a jerk.
I mean, we can also cook them. We could do some sausage and red and green peppers.
We can't get the sausage. They don't make it anymore. Hey, you let me know if your market basket has Davio sausages or wherever. I can't find them anywhere. Cannot find them anywhere. And we don't have, for all of, we live in a horse country with, heiresses, every 6 houses up here, and there's no Whole Foods.
I know. The closest one is like North Andover
I've waited
or whatever.
49 years to ever want to go to a Whole Foods. Now I do want to go to one. I can't find one. Why?
I don't know why there's not a Whole Foods. I don't know who we have to talk to get one.
Makes no sense. We're near Newburyport.
Although the Shaw's is good here.
Obnoxious people.
The Shaw's is good in Newburyport. That's probably why.
Occasionally. Sometimes.
That's probably why. Which is incredible because Melrose has a Shaw's and a Whole Foods, and they're both bad.
Yeah, Melrose managed to make the Whole Foods bad. Yeah.
And the Shaw's is terrible.
I don't.
The Shaw's is like the worst grocery store on earth.
The only times ever, I've told you before, I've ever considered self-harm is when I was in that Shaw's in the middle of Melrose. It's the only time ever, really. All right, what else is going on, Albie?
So remember yesterday we talked about like how liberals go after people online who like are just living their lives or tweeting things or doing stuff. So I want you to play this video of this young woman who decided she was trans at 16, got puberty blockers, got hormone therapy, and now at 21, 5 years later, isn't sure she still wants to be a boy and is not sure what to do because she permanently sounds like this.
Hey y'all, so I got out of my haircut, because my hair was driving me nuts, and I shaved it because I'm tired of watching my hair thin out, and it's less distressing if I shave it. So when I talk about being too far gone,
this is a biological woman?
Yeah.
Why is he going bald?
Because testosterone can do that to you.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, God. Okay, I'll let him talk.
Because my hair was driving me nuts, and I shaved it because I'm tired of watching my hair thin out, and it's less distressing.
She's a 21-year-old girl.
So when I talk about being too far gone, I don't really know what else to call it. This is what I mean. This is how deep my voice is. It's gotten deeper over time, and it's settled. This is what I mean by hair loss, and it just keeps getting worse. It keeps thinning. It keeps receding backwards. And I'm not exactly sure that's coming back. Those are the main things when I talk about being androgenized to a point of no return. I really don't see those being fixable. So that's when I talk about, just kind of staying how I am, regardless of how I feel. That's why, just because I don't really see me personally being able to come back from what's happened so far. So I hope that's a little explanatory, just to kind of give a little bit more of a, let me reword that, just to kind of, talk about, give more awareness to the situation, kind of, so you can see where I'm at. Words are not working well with me right now.
I understand.
I'm just going to cut this off. There you go.
Yeah. Well, you get the idea of this young one. So this video blew up and got huge because a bunch of conservatives were pointing it out, right? Mm-hmm. And so then leftists got mad at this person because conservatives were using this to say like people shouldn't transition, right?
Yeah.
So then she tweeted out this whole thread. Are you answering questions? Are you detransitioning? Why are you in a detrans space if you don't plan to detransition? It might have been misconstrued, but I never said I would definitively detransition. I'm also not definitively saying I'm trans and that this was the right decision. I'm a realist, and right now it would require a lot of effort for me to revert back to the presentation of my birth sex compared to socially presenting as I do now. I also have non-related medical issues I'm trying to juggle, plus my mental health, so it's a balancing act. Additionally, I don't have a strong yearning to present as female at this moment. To be honest, I don't know what socially living as a woman is because I transitioned before I reached adulthood. To say it would be a learning curve is an understatement. It doesn't mean it won't ever happen, and it doesn't mean I 100% regret transitioning. Rather, I just don't know. It's all up in the air and to be determined. In answer to the question if she's anti-trans, she says, what fully developed adults choose to do is up to them, and clearly there are trans people that transition and are happier for it. That's great, and I'm happy for them. I want everyone to have access to high-quality medical care for their physical and mental health. Right now, though, it's clear that even in adults, the informed consent model is leading to young adults making the wrong decision and children having to face the consequences. It's clear based on the number of young adults coming forward that A, we can't 100% discern between gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia, and B, that one can present with feelings of gender dysphoria for reasons other than being trans, like trauma. And C, of the kids that are put on puberty blockers, we can't predict who will be fine with transition and who will regret it. And D, even young adults over the age of majority are falling victim to fast access to powerful drugs because of informed consent. I could go on. The current system isn't working. Enough people are getting hurt and are allowed to make life-altering decisions very quickly that the current model of care at the very least needs to be modified, if not rebuilt entirely. In answer to if I'm affiliated with right-wing political commentary or I'm getting paid, I can assure you no one is paying me. I simply got fed up and made this video. I have no clue how or why it blew up. I really don't. I can acknowledge, depending on who found the video, it could have been sent into the conservative echo chamber of Twitter, but I have no control over that. She goes on to say she doesn't blame her mother. She doesn't blame the doctors. Years of battling severe depression, years of therapy and medical issues, years of actively living with suicidal ideation every day.
Ugh.
Led up to me seeking trans healthcare. I would do anything back then to make the pain go away, and so would my mom. We acted out of desperation, and she trusted highly trained professionals at a reputable children's hospital that this was the right thing to do. She was told if I didn't transition, there was a 50% chance I would commit suicide.
Holy
That's what she was
crap.
told. We followed medical advice, and it didn't fix much of anything. I continued to struggle. I continued to be suicidal, and that was my reality. That is my reality. I don't hold it against the medical professionals personally. I believe they were acting in good faith, but they missed quite a few red flags that would have indicated more was at play than gender dysphoria.
What an indictment.
So then,
God, imagine being a 21-year-old and having all this stuff on your mind.
right.
Jesus.
Then of course, a bunch of left-wing people got into the replies and start saying that, you know, this is your fault. You shouldn't have sought out trans healthcare. There were plenty of things stopping you if you didn't want to do it. And this is, you know, and
Some of the nicest people in the world, the really good people, are
making fun of how
attacking
she
this
looks
person.
now, like trans people posting their own selfies and saying, it's not my fault you look like that and you're sorry you transitioned. It's not my fault you transitioned
Doesn't
to
take
look
much.
like what. Yeah, it's so ugly. This isn't a right-wing person. This isn't an anti-trans person. This is a deeply disturbed young woman
who's emotionally hurting and has said so just a moment ago, who's now being attacked by these people who are supposed to care about such people.
Right. It's disgusting and horrific, and it's I mean, they just show you who they are exactly every time, and I find it distressing that they see a person who's clearly in distress and, you know, not like, this isn't a deeply unhappy person, obviously, for obvious reasons. And they're going after her, making fun of how a young person, right? This is who didn't really mean to become like a public figure,
No.
right? Who just made a video. I know she put it on Twitter, but it's like, it's really comes from a dark place.
Yes.
To make fun of a hurting 21-year-old with severe medical and mental problems, who made a wrong choice and feels that she made a wrong choice.
Well, they're mad at her because her kind of talk and behavior is going to result in suicide. So they're yelling at her, but she's already said that she thinks about committing suicide.
Right. I also started, this is Ty Turner, trans person. I also started hormones as a teenager. 8 years later, I'm a full-grown man with a full head of hair. Sorry, bald. It's great. It's nice. It's a nice way to talk to people. He started his transition when he was 16. Now he's 70. Retweet if you think that's inspirational. Ugly stuff. These are
Great.
Twitter blue checks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just like people with blue checks. They're just unkind, evil people who... They're the ones who drove this person to do this as a solution to their problems, and now they're making fun of them.
Yeah. Well, can I move on to the new latest social contagion?
Sure. What's the new latest social contagion?
I'm going to pass it to my friend, Massachusetts native Joseph Rogan.
There's kids, ready for this? My friend, his wife, is a school teacher. And she works at a school that had to install a litter box in the girls' room because there is a girl who's a furry who identifies as an animal. And her mother badgered the school until they agreed to put a litter box in one of the stalls. Yeah. So this girl goes into the litter room or to the girls' room and urinates or whatever. I don't know if she poops in it. That's pretty gross. You know what I mean? Like, if you could teach your cat, by the way, here's the thing. If you could teach your cat to use the toilet, you would. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a box of piss in your house. It's the worst. I've had cats my whole life. It's the worst thing about having cats. You got to clean that box of piss every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's the greatest thing about dogs. They go outside. Like, you're a fucking
the
human.
cat's got their humans trained.
Imagine how crazy
totally
that is. You're a fucking human being, and you prefer a litter box. You want to piss into a pile of sand rather than use a bathroom that you could flush the toilet, wipe yourself like a normal person. Like, you're so crazy with what you think an animal is that not only have you said this, but you've conned the school into putting this fucking litter box in a girl's room.
Yeah.
Which is bananas.
It is. It's absolutely insane.
I wonder if Tulsi smoked and drank with him. So that's interesting because about 2 months ago, I looked this up because I thought there's no way. You heard little whispers of this was happening. So I looked it up and I found a bunch of fact check places that said, no, it's apocryphal. It didn't happen.
But this is now the second person who's saying they heard a first-hand account.
But you know what? Of course, when all those fact checkers say it didn't happen, it's absolutely happening. So what's the next step from them?
You're a bad person if you
got a problem with
it. Yeah.
But right, and it's going to be the next social contagion. There's no doubt about it. But also, it's about making the school do the thing. Because if somebody decides that they're a possum, since when are they an indoor possum that has to piss in a litter box? Go be a possum outside. We don't have to install anything in here. How come they're a furry, but they also...
You get to be an outdoor cat. Good luck.
Yeah, go outside.
But, I mean, I feel like
but
this
you know
has,
that we're going to be...
point...
You know that the teachers, administrators that are going to be affirming all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is... The furries are next.
I mean, I wonder
slowly,
to what extent...
the long march is being made by the minor attracted people. That's coming.
I wonder to what extent this is really happening or to what extent like people are serious about it or not. And I'm sure there's like varying degrees of how seriously people consider it. There are real furries.
We know that. There are furry conventions. We know that. Mm-hmm. There's a big one that happens in Hartford every year. These people have absolutely adopted this lifestyle that they put their little fur costumes on. And so... If this is the next thing
and it is true.
In schools that makes you feel special,
I have a relative who works at, let's say, a big tech company, and they've been remote, and they do Zoom meetings, and there is a person at her work who goes to the Zoom meetings in his furry outfit. I'm just saying, at work. Why are you looking at me like that?
It's a guy?
Yeah.
How do I say this without getting into trouble? There was a time, not too long ago, Alice, when the streets policed themselves.
At least you're putting it out there. If you're wandering around in like a blue tiger costume or something, like it's not like people are going to be surprised.
Much like the trans thing, the point is to make us make accommodations. That's the point. It's not just that I get to be a furry. No. I have to be a furry and you have to play along, including pretending that I'm somebody who uses a litter box, even though I'm just wearing... This is just like the trans thing. It really is. I'm sorry.
Well, it is, but it's also, I feel like it's like a frog in boiling water thing where it's like you keep thinking there has to be a point at which like the people in the school administration are going to laugh it out of the room. but they're not.
First of all, that person who works in that company, who's in the Zoom meeting, should be loudly and publicly fired. To say we expect some kind of we expect you to conduct yourself as a human being in our meetings. You want to do furry stuff, you can do it around work. You need to be a human here and talk like a human.
We only hire humans.
We're not calling you your pet name and saying good boy every time you have a good suggestion. No. That person, I'm feeling violent feelings, Alice.
I'm sorry about that. Morgan wants to know if we are planning on watching the Candace Owens documentary tonight.
Oh, what's it on?
I don't know either. I don't know.
I love Candace Owens. I tried to get her on my... She's from Connecticut, I tried to get her on my show. I've talked to her. I used to communicate with her years ago when she was brand new, and I talked to her on Herald Radio back then, I think. But now she's big time, so I don't know if I'll be able to get her. But yeah. I would like to. Where is it? Where is it on? Fox News?
I'm not sure. He didn't say.
Is it?
I don't know.
Well, I also want to watch the Larry Elder thing. We got to get Larry on too. Which is great.
That could be interesting too. And the last thing I wanted...
You know what sounded cool, actually? Did you see any of the Joe Rogan with Dave Rubin?
No.
I've only heard clips on Rubin's show.
He says it's on Daily Wire. That makes sense, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Joe Rogan with Rubin. No, I'm sorry. Not Rogan and Rubin. Those two don't get along for some reason. Rogan is falling out with him. But
Rogan and...
It's, no, Rubin and Bill Maher.
Oh, okay.
They did Maher's podcast where they smoke and drink. And it sounded really cool. I would dig that. I need more people interacting with Bill Maher.
Good.
What time do we have to go?
We can jump up anytime. I just have one more thing I wanted to touch on.
Oh, that's what I wanted to hold on.
There's kids.
No, hold on.
Ready for this?
Okay.
My friend.
Hold on. I know what I wanted to
All right.
tell you. Something that needs to stop immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. And I'm going to go through screenshots. Here's one screenshot. Girl named Kim, who I used to know in my 20s, who's a nice person. She's got a lot of panache, excellent personality. We're in need of some kiddos for a 1-hour lesson photo shoot about bees on Sunday. I needed an inquisitive MD to help tackle this, or at least someone who can get referred along the way. I have a problem. I need a doctor, and I'm looking for help because of my kiddos. Enough with the effing kiddos. Enough with kiddos. Stop saying kiddos.
Mm-hmm.
And we know somebody else, a friend of ours, who did a video and mentioned, and I know the kiddos can be so tough. Stop effing saying kiddos. You're all psychotics. No more.
It's kind of how I feel like about adult women wearing pigtails too. Like, you're not a child.
Stop saying kiddos. And usually it's like, we have to affirm our kiddos. My kiddo berates me, but that's okay. It's just being a kiddo. It's like, shut up. The problem that the fact that you call your piece of crap offspring kiddo is why they suck. God.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry. So I was gonna.
Don't be so sweet, by the way. You were just yelling at me before we went on. Again.
I was?
Again.
I don't know that I was. So anyway, the last thing I wanted to touch on is if you read one thing, like one article this week, go to Barry Weiss's Substack and read the piece on the Canadian assisted suicide laws.
Ooh.
Because it is the most like earth-shattering piece of journalism I think I've ever read.
Wow.
Because the assisted suicide laws in Canada are some of like the most liberal in the world, and they're pushing to make it so that even people under 18 can get assisted suicide. So it's already, you don't have to be dying. You just have to be able to say that you have a condition that can't be cured to your satisfaction, to a level that's acceptable to you. And you can apply and get it within a period of like a few months. And you just go to the doctor. They'll do the consultations like over the internet if you want. And you can just sign up and like go to the clinic, and they'll inject you.
Zoom will check
and they'll inject you. So the story starts off by talking to this mom who discovered that her 21-year-old son, who had a condition, he had diabetes and was going blind from it. So his eyesight was getting worse and he was going blind. And she discovered, like, she just happened to be on his device or something and saw that he was emailing with the place and had scheduled something, like, it was like 2 weeks out from it. And he was like gonna go. He had decided he didn't have a girlfriend. He stayed at home, smoked weed all the time, didn't feel like he had any prospects in life. And he had just like scheduled an assisted suicide.
Jesus.
And so she like called the place trying to find out like what, and like she just has to try and convince her son. And so it turns out she made a big enough deal out of it that there was a bit of a social media storm in Canada over this. And the doctor kind of backtracked because he got so much backlash personally. But the kid is now mad at her and it's like, Mom, you're ruining my life because you won't let me kill myself. And like,
Okay,
but,
I
like,
can't take any more insanity.
but
My
like
God.
they're moving it to under 18 now. So soon in Canada, you're depressed and they are including mental health conditions that can't be cured to the extent that you're satisfied with.
Oh,
So
man,
soon,
progressivism, it's a dark thing.
Your 16-year-old who's like depressed
Your
will
kiddo.
be able to, your kiddo will
Yep.
be able to, behind your back, without your permission, go talk to a doctor online and sign up to die.
That's great.
Isn't
That's
that
great, Canada.
absolutely
That's great.
insane? There are also a bunch of poor people because even though liberals in the U.S. love to tell us about Canada's social safety net, there's poor people who like don't have enough benefits or are on disability and feel like they can't live, like they don't have enough money to buy food. And because the healthcare in Canada is free, including the assisted suicide, that's like a nice option. And the government of Canada has noticed that they're saving money this way,
Should
so
we
they're
do
like
this chat or
excited
no?
about it.
Chat or no?
Yeah, let's jump on and do the chat and then
Okay.
we'll know.
First off, Steve from Merrimack gets chat of the week, maybe of the month, maybe
Correct.
the year.
That
was
was
an
brilliant.
amazing one yesterday.
Brilliant.
And Tom,
I
how
know.
can you not like MacGyver? Come on,
Ugh.
80s icon, 80s legend.
I don't. I'm. I just wasn't into the gadgets and stuff, and how he used to use a stick of gum, etc. I'm a Rick and AJ guy.
An amazing show. I was addicted to it when I was a kid.
Mm.
And I once saw MacGyver blow up Murdoch's entire lab.
Let me tell you one thing. I saw the movie with the guy from SNL, and I thought it was really good. Remember we saw that?
No.
Okay.
With just magnesium from a bicycle, some iodine, bubble gum, and some Clorox bleach.
Mm.
The guy's a genius. Didn't even use guns. Maybe that's why you don't like him. And to not even have enough respect for Quantum Leap to remember the name of the show.
Yes.
Scott Bakula's rolling in his grave.
Hello. Harry Dean Stanton, Scott Bakula. I never really was, and I didn't get into Bakula on. You probably liked him in the Star Trek. He was in the Star Trek reboot. No, that just wasn't me. That just wasn't me at that time. I'm Rick and AJ, A-Team. Obviously Simon and Simon for a while. What was that one? The one that was it was like Magnum PI, except it was Breakwater or something. The guy with another guy with a mustache.
So I was having a pretty deep conversation with my cousin Tulsi Sunday, and we discussed things that going on politically and everything. And then I brought up how the Democratic Party is no longer what it used to be. Like even the party of that was of John Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
true.
Trailing out a bit here,
I was
Justin.
telling her, you got to leave that party because they're all woke and warmongers. You got to leave that, Tulsi. You got to leave.
Well, she did. She did. I had a good conversation with her in New Hampshire a couple of years ago. And it was very interesting because she was really like kind of going radical for the Democrats at that point. She'd already whacked Kamala. Kamala's out of the race by the time we get to. But she was intense, and she's very beautiful, and she was mesmerizing. She looks exactly at you. And I've had that with a couple of people who are intense, looking exactly at you and using authority. You know who else was like that? Although not nearly as beautiful?
Who?
Ayanna Presley. Hate to tell you, but she was intense too. Ayanna Presley. We had she came into her credit for an editorial board interview, and I did my best to hammer her with all sorts of stuff, but she's a proud Marxist, so she was like, "No, I believe in equal outcomes. Absolutely, equality of outcomes is what we have to have in this country. We can do." She had the spiel down, but there you go.
Hey Tom, this is Dana from Maine.
Hey Dana.
Tom, I know you were really upset about Peloton layoffs, so I just wanted to let you know I reached out to them, and I've now joined as a coach for a new platform called Peloton for Fats.
Ooh.
It's especially made for those people that are fat.
Is that
from
true?
Mass and Massachusetts. So today we have a 30-second low-intensity interval training jaunt that will take you from your sofa to your grill and to your refrigerator.
This I'm listening to, Alice. This is my kind of workout.
So make sure you have the correct gear for this. That includes a bathrobe, socks, and sandals. And don't forget the little Jerry Callahan t-shirt. Don't worry about what Cullinane says.
Correct. Where is my Jerry Callahan t-shirt? I can't.
We don't
find
know
it.
where yours is. I guess
We
we'll
got to
have
order some new
you a
stuff. We
one.
got to make merch too. We have so damn busy.
So much to do.
Now step on over to that grill, bend down for a nice stretch, turn on that propane, light the grill, slowly walk back to your refrigerator, grab 2 Narragansett lights and a pack of sausages. Now walk slowly back to that grill, cook those sausages. Do not, by any means, add vegetables. And do not use
God bless you, Dana.
Now,
I would do this in a
take
second.
your much-deserved rest, and don't forget to stretch your arms before using any condiments, but I do highly recommend mustard, ketchup, and relish.
Well, in mayo. Obviously.
You're doing great for your body. So, Tom, let's make sure you come back each day. I look forward to leading you on your fats journey.
Imagine
Peace
that.
out.
An exercise that's
I think
specially made
Peloton's
for
prospects are
fats.
looking up. I bet you their stocks have ticked up today.
That is a brilliant hook, Dana. Thank you.
Balanced on information, tunes I couldn't place, wondering where they're going.
I don't know this song.
I sit in traffic waiting for you. They had their colors, maroon, yellow, blue, gold, and gray, with the sky blue sky.
I don't know who sings that song.
I don't either.
It sounds. I worry that it's maybe Springsteen, who I don't ever need to hear.
Hey there, burn barrel, how you doing? Calling all the way from Sweden. The names are Lars, Ahova, Garvin, Churvin, Gargan, Stevenson. I was just wondering.
Is Greta what's her name?
Thunberg?
Yeah, is she Swedish? Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't like her.
It's the same guy who does the voices on your burn a barrel.
Gotta go through these beforehand.
One of the reasons I love Burn Barrel Pod is because it's raw. It's real and it's raw. But I am wondering on the shoe thief episode, was that a reenactment of Lord of the Flies going on in the background? Or was it just kids being tortured in some sort of dungeon? Just curious.
I don't specifically remember. Was there a specific thing?
I mostly tune out our kids. I just ignore.
There's one who was just yelling at us from downstairs. I assume he wants you to wipe him, Alice. I assume that's what we get.
Probably. That's what happens.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, one of them is stuck in really enjoying. Doesn't
the other day, I'm on my way home, driving home with one kid from something, and Tom calls me in the car to ask me how far away I am because the 4-year-old needs me to wipe his butt.
Now,
and
let the record show that I said
you would do it.
I said yes, I will do it, and I said, "Mommy's 20 minutes away, so why don't you just let me do it?" And he said, "I'll wait." So,
and so you just went with it.
He wouldn't let me do it. He wanted you to wait.
20
for you.
minutes.
Yes.
20 minutes. He waited in the bathroom. Well, you know
what?
I can't believe you even called me with that. That's insane.
I wanted to see where you. Oh yeah, that's right. And I said, "Where are you?" And you said, "I'm on the way back from Plastow." That's not "Where are you?" Where are you? Is where are you?
Specifically,
Literally.
which town I'm in. Somewhere in Haverhill. What kind of information do you need?
Where are you? On the way back from Plastow. No, that's what are you doing? Where are you? Is your location.
No, I'm
I'm on 495 to exit 6. That's something. That's where are
there's
you?
There's a way back, and I'm on it.
Yeah, I'm on it. So, in other words, expect me either in a nanosecond or an hour and a half, or maybe never. 860-5229-842.
You don't need to call that number.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. But you know what? You know what about him wanting to wipe you? You know what? It's okay.
Wanting me to wipe him.
No, you know what?
Yeah. What?
He's just being a kiddo.
He is. He's just a kiddo who wants his mom to wipe his butt.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thank you, Tim and Canton, Danny and Bill Ricca, Justin. We didn't have Stephen Merrimack today, did we? I don't think we did. So, but anyway, thank you, Stephen Merrimack, too, for being the Chat Chat Caller of the Week. We will talk to you soon. You can leave those Chat Chat messages at burnbarrelpodcast.com. You can talk to us on Twitter at burnbarrelpod. Facebook.com/burnbarrel. If you want to be in on the live streams, you can go to patreon.com/burnbarrel.